wisdom of life is showing you what direction to take, to where to guide your children. You know how to do parenting. You learn it as you go, or you know it already. It happens organically. Whereas if you get into your head about it, whoa, I have to do this, these are just thoughts. They have nothing at all to do with actually rearing your children. Rearing of your children happens in the moment. And at any moment you will do the best you can given what you have. That doesn't need a sense of responsibility on top of it. Do you see? So it's literally a thought which has nothing to do with that which moves through you rearing your children.
But actually that's true of anything, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
even any formalities that we have,
Yes.
protocols that we hold,
Yes.
that's true of those things too.
Yes. Yes. It all boils down to the same thing. The I doesn't exist. Therefore, where is the ownership? And at a certain point, when ownership is lessening, and with this work, of course, that's what happens on the progressive path, as ownership is lessening, everything is seen to be the same thing. They're just concepts. If they're not owned by an individual I, then what living happens through your form, and all is taken care of by that which you are.
But when you say that which you are, you actually mean the higher.
Brahman, or nothing, or emptiness, or that which is beyond thought. And there is only that. There is only that. All the rest is just created by concepts, because the mind would like to label. Mind will label and see difference. And if the mind owns a thought, then it has a heaviness, a seriousness about it, because there's something unnatural in it. At a certain point, it's unnatural.
Say that again?
At a certain point, it's unnatural
Okay.
to believe your thoughts, to feel the weight or the gravity of a concept. So it gets
Okay.
more heavy, it gets more dense, because the silence, the grace is pulling you home. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
The more you attach yourself to it, the greater it becomes. Yeah.
Yes, the suffering ensues. The suffering will get stronger. Suffering will increase. Yes. And it is seen to be not necessary and only created by the concept of the I owning something. And the I actually doesn't exist except for the moments. It appears to exist the moment that a thought is believed to be true. You know, it's not that the I exists and it attaches to thoughts. It's like the I only exists when a thought is being believed. It's part of the program. Do you see? Do you see?
True.
So the space between thoughts, there actually is no I. But we imagine that there is an I continuing, and then the I grabs thoughts and thoughts. It's like, hey, give a look. There is no I between thoughts. The stillness prevails. It's much more accessible. It's much more natural than what we imagine. Because we want to believe that we exist and that we are, there all the time and, in control. But actually, no, between thoughts, the natural state prevails. There is a space between thoughts. But it's not noticed because it takes the I to notice. So when a heaviness of responsibility comes, just see it for what it is. If it's noticed, like, that's that feeling of the pressure of responsibility. Say, okay, it's giving rise to an I. That's the problem. It's giving the I is the problem, believing that it has to be responsible. A load of concepts, out it goes. Responsibility is taken care of by Brahman, and I am that. That's the truth.
Yesterday, during your telecast, you mentioned about love.
Yes.
You said not loving.
Yes.
What is this? What is that love? Is it something? I mean, in Sanskrit or in Hindi word actually there is an explanation for it. I've always struggled with the English word love.
Okay. Okay.
Because the equivalent word in Sanskrit happens to be premi.
Okay.
and it comes from two root words, priya mana. So whose mind is important to me, or something that I can appreciate. I'm in love with that person. Actually, it's at the mind level. It's nothing to do with the body or something.
That's mind level.
Yeah. So when somebody says premi in our language, it's actually at the mental level.
Yes.
So I'm appreciating your mind.
Yes.
But the English word love has a physical connotation to it.
Yes.
And typically, that's why you got to always say, I mean love, not loving.
Not
Because
loving.
Loving is an act.
It's an act,
Yeah.
yes, and it requires two,
Right.
and it's shown towards another, and we've already got separation.
Right.
Yes.
So, which begs the question then, what is love?
What is love?
Is it loving without the separation?
Yes. Yes. Without the concept of separation.
Okay, so it's again at the mental level. It's beyond that, but still.
If you can go back to the primary, the most primary form, so that would also be the most primary concept,
Okay.
then it is love. The primary energy is love. The first energy is love, the essence of love. And all that arises from Brahman, from that which is beyond it all, prior to the other concepts that come in and the belief in separation giving diversity in a dualistic world, prior to that, there exists energy. Do you know?
Right.
Because consciousness contains all the energy. Consciousness is that energetic Maya, the Leela that we call creation. And so at that primary level, just before duality comes in, that's as far as this understanding has gone back. So there's only love. There's only love. And that is seen to be so prior to the concept of separation. It seems like the primary concept. So yes, it is a concept.
The most fundamental.
The most fundamental one. The most fundamental one is love. And so hence, if we have love and if we have concepts coming in, giving rise to duality, and it's only love, but the duality framework rests on top of it, it will say, love and not love. Love and other. So now the search begins. What is this other? It's actually yourself, but what? So prior to any action, prior to other, the movement is love. But it cannot move until there is something to move towards. Hence the concept of separation. And now there's a moving towards, imagining there is something lost and gained, and it's just movement with the concepts of loss and gain being pretty plausible, huh? Because all know what love is. Oh, you know, that's the common yearning, isn't it?
Common yearning, I think, to be accepted. The search for that acceptance.
Accepted by?
Well, in our thing, it's the ego problem. When we search, we don't know what we're searching for, I guess.
No.
So
Yes.
that the issue becomes that we're searching for something.
Yes.
We don't know what we are searching for, so we sort of cling on to things that what we can comprehend.
Yes. Yes. But a resolution will never be arrived at.
We cannot resolve it.
No, that is cyclical. It's cyclical. Is it seen as futile in you?
No, I don't see it as futile, but I don't know. I mean, I've never had that issue in me before. So.
You never had that issue in you?
The issue of ownership, the issue of anything went off at the age of about 8 or 9. It sort of, I just told my parents I don't want to celebrate birthdays. I don't want servants.
Aha.
So that whole thing about I want to do something
Yes. Okay.
has never been there.
Okay. Is there a desireless state?
Relatively,
Okay.
compared to all my colleagues around me and all that, yeah.
Okay.
Because ever since then, I've always had just 2 shirts and 2 pants.
Yes.
Never worried about.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
So, what about ownership of thought? That's ownership
Well,
of the
that-
material world.
yeah, that's ownership of thought. Obviously, still there.
Yes,
Somewhere around. I got to figure a way out for that.
Yes.
At least I've reached that stage, I guess.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Actually, I should say probably ownership of some thoughts. No, I don't have ownership of some thoughts.
Okay.
I don't have that issue. There are some thoughts that I still have. But I think what you mentioned, that should get rid of that too.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes. Ownership itself is a thought.
right. So as a question, you know, it took quite a while to figure out that even a question is a thought.
Yes.
Don't even bother to question it.
Yes. Yes. So does it happen that thoughts pass by with little or no interest?
Only when, how should I put it? I think it's there only when it relates to somebody else. But I've noticed that as my kids have grown older and one has got a job and I don't have any.
Yes.
I mean, if she comes to me with a complaint, then I'll tackle it. If she doesn't,
There's nothing happening.
even if she complains,
Yes.
until she says, "Hey, what do you think about this? What I'm
Yes.
complaining about?"
Yes.
There's no reaction.
Yes. Great.
You know, so I don't have that. This thing. I've done my part. You're on your own.
Yes.
You know, so,
Yes.
but if I can get that level, even with other things,
Yes.
you know, where it just happens,
Yes.
then that's probably the
Yes.
next step to go.
That's right. That's exactly the next step. Yes. Yes. That resting in knowing that all that's happening and engagement will happen anyway when it is
Right.
needed. It doesn't require constant thought to enable you to engage. Many can't make that leap that you've already made. Many just can't do that. You know, that if that surrender took place, then functioning would cease. But you already know that no, functioning takes care regardless of whether. Mhm.
I'm not consciously aware of it, but it
Yes,
happens.
yes, that's exactly it. How could you be consciously? It would take an eye to be consciously aware of it. It's exactly right. Yeah, it's exactly the determining factor that you're on track, as it were. So where does it get sticky then?
I don't think it gets sticky per se.
Yeah.
It is just that at times it happens, maybe 5-10% of time when
Sure.
you know, when I'm doing nothing.
Yes.
Right now I don't have a job for nearly a year now.
Yes.
It doesn't bother me, but it bothers everybody around me. you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So once they start acting up, then I start thinking, should it bother me?
Yes.
It doesn't bother me though.
Yes.
I mean, things are happening. It's
Yes.
not that I'm on the street or something. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
it's happening. So.
Somehow it's just taken care of. Yes. Yes. And your body might move towards work and it may not.
Well, I have that part of me which does motivate me to do certain things. So I get that. That thing is there. But,
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine, yeah. But if there's an investment in it, okay, we've got an ego ownership. But motivation still can happen. But if there's an attachment to an outcome, hey,
Result.
warning. Yeah. Then it's owned. There's somebody doing it then. The doer is active in doing it, you know?
So are you all the time in India right now?
I'm in Chicago today. For the last 3 years, pretty much. I left at the end of February of this year. So this is the longest. This is quite a spell out from India now. I'll go back at the end of October. Yeah.
For 3 years? Did you say that?
Yeah, for the last 3 years I seem to be there. I might come out for 3 weeks or I might come out for 2 months if I have to see my family or do something in the West or whatever, but get a new visa. But yeah, I've been there for the last few years, yeah. So who knows, you know, wherever. Yeah, wherever.
This morning I got a call from London. The reason I asked you is that I get a call from London. This guy is a recruiter. And he says, hey, I'm going to submit you for this job and all that stuff, but I want to make sure that you'll stay in the UK for 4 years. So immediately my mind went to Muji and, you know, I said, sure, you know what, I don't mind 4 years.
Yes.
So it's funny, I mean, this guy out of the blue called me.
Yes. So something in you says yes.
I have nothing.
You see, that's it.
There is no,
Yes.
there are no rules.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter. I mean, I can think of London being, you know, rainy and this and that stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
There's snow here and
Yeah,
it's
there's
heat
a-
in Dallas. And
Sure. There's a so what about things,
Yeah.
isn't there? Yeah.
no, but what was funny was this guy calling me from London,
Yes.
saying, hey, one of your friends called me and said, you know, you're a likely candidate and all that. So
Yes.
he's offering me a job in London.
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying for jobs in the US and I cannot find a job, but this guy is calling me from there.
But they call you from there.
So I said, fine.
Yes. Maybe you will go. Let's see.
So you normally go on a one-way ticket? Do you
No, this time I got a return.
take a return? Because normally they're like 6 months or so, right? And you have to.
Yeah, I got a
Well,
1 year
okay.
visa once and then 6 months one. But you can just go to Nepal and, you know, come in the next day or go to Sri Lanka and come in the next day.
Okay.
The facility is still there, you know, it's getting tighter, but
Do they give you a 1 year visa or a 10-year visa?
in Europe there are
I
some
think it's
countries
5.
that get
5 years.
no, now in Ireland 6 months is the most you can get at the moment. But I was in Spain for a while and I could get 1 year.
To India?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, so but
Yeah,
it's just
we can
getting
get
tighter.
5 years and 10
No,
years.
no, that is only specially for Indians. I mean, US citizens. They can get a 10-year visa
Yes.
to India. But in Europe, it's 5 years.
It depends per country. It's changed.
Right.
It's the individual relation between country now.
Okay. This must have changed recently.
Yeah, it's changed. And the swine flu has changed it also.
Yeah.
And so it's a movable thing.
Swine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Are you hungry yet?
I'll follow with whatever's happening. You know, I just
Okay.
thought there was somebody standing just
As
there.
I-
It wasn't,
as I-
obviously.
So,
It's just whatever is happening for you guys. I'll flow with whatever.
okay. Lunch is ready? Okay, we can join.
Okay,
Whatever.
sure.
Right. Okay. So is this festival like this, the season that you were mentioning, is this like every year? This is
Yeah.
a regular thing, pretty much?
But it's possible not to get involved in that, of course, you know. Just go up the mountain, sit in the ashram.
Is it the light stuff?
No, this is at the Tiruvannamalai, there is a annual,
Light.
No. There's a season like a lot of Westerners come
Yeah.
to.
There's a spiritual seeking tourist season
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
in Tiruvallur, in December and January.
So how many people does it attract?
Gosh, I don't know what the numbers are, but lots. Where accommodation is hard to come by, and
Still everybody comes.
yes, still everybody comes. Yes, yes, it's just getting very popular, you know. Yeah. Some seekers and some tourists. But yes, it's every year I just see more and more Westerners going. You know. It's fine. It's just changing the culture locally.
Oh, is it?
Ah, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, definitely. The globalization has a huge impact.
Yes.
I mean, people fail to realize that, but
Yes.
it's going to have a huge impact.
Yes.
I mean, just like Thiru is one, I mean, the same thing is happening in the northern side, for example,
Yes.
in UP, Uttarakhand, Kashi, and several places.
Yes.
That's part of globalization.
Yes. It is.
Uh,
It is.
you can call it diversity, you can call it
Yes.
whatever.
It's just the
but
movement of where
just
it's
movement.
at.
So,
That's right. That's right.
if you put in a pipe and connect everything, then things are going to move.
That's right.
As long as you keep barriers, then don't move.
Uh-huh.
But,
Uh-huh.
Jack has recently written a book, Born to be Free.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's a
I
very
saw it somewhere on one of the websites.
yeah. Actually, I should have got a couple of them. I think you have
Get
a
them
few.
tonight. Yeah.
I'll get them tonight.
Yeah.
You have a few actually, so you don't have to pay shipping and handling.
That's right.
If you, I'll pay. Actually, it is very nice. I think this I mean, I've gone already 3 times or so. I'm now started highlighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a very, I would say, how to say it? Not an FAQ. FAQ probably for people like you, many things are already there. But
Instructional.
it's pretty like how-to things, certain
Yeah.
clarifications.
Yeah, clarifications, and it exposes the subtleties of mind. It's like, well, that's a thought, and that's a thought, and mind will do this too, and mind will do that too. It's like,
I like
oh,
the word that you use instead of checkpoints or something. It's more like a signpost.
Yes, yes.
I like the word. Meaning, these things are happening. It's like a signpost. Meaning, at least you can tally what's happening, where you are versus. It's very, very useful.
Actually, we have 3 kids, and
Uh-huh.
the oldest one is a daughter and then 2
Okay.
sons. The older son, he's in Champagne, and when he mentioned about today's meeting here, I had half a mind of calling him here because he's quite into these kind of things.
Great. Okay.
So then I said I have to drive there actually.
Yes. So I'll check her out. This old Irish woman. I'll check her out first.
No, that's not the point.
Dumb. This is only joking.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm just too old now to drive
Yeah.
the distances. I'm
Yeah.
tired. So I said,
Nothing is lost and nothing is gained.
No, but I sent him the URL for your
Very
this
good.
evenings.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, today is his day off. So I
Perfect.
said,
You might log on this evening then. That'd be great. It's great, isn't it, to have that facility of like Satsang over the internet. It's bizarre to think we've come to that, but why not? Why not?
well, the time has come.
The time has come.
I mean, I think these are the positive things of the technology.
Yes.
That which was hidden in some cave or mountain
Yes.
someday is now available to the whole world.
Yes.
I mean, one thing I like, the internet, like anything you wish, you can Google it up and you have it.
Yes.
That's the beauty of the internet.
Yes.
But there's a lot of negatives. I mean, so it's, everything has,
Yes.
you can always stay focused on the positive side and it's all there.
Yes.
And, look at the negative, that's another problem.
Yeah.
Webcast. That's a ton of work, though. I mean, it's not easy. Once you set it up, because Richard has hooked it up with so many different places, they all have it, and then he has to, archive it and then save it. He does this all the time, so it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, he's just totally committed,
He's totally committed.
He is, and he goes, I don't know why I'm doing it, I don't know why I'm doing it. He
Yeah.
keeps saying this
He
phrase,
keeps saying- I love that part. He keeps saying, I don't know why I'm doing it, but he keeps doing it.
He keeps doing it. He keeps doing it,
Yeah.
Prarabdha.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think this is the first time he's done such an intensive,
That's true.
There's a group of us kind of living in,
Yeah.
And it's a retreat. It's a retreat, there's no question. It's a retreat. The whole thing is just, it moves from the broadcast just up to the living room, into the dining room, and it moves down to the broadcasting room. And the retreat is in the house, It's like a little mini ashram.
Oh, is this in his house?
In his
Yeah.
house.
Where
That's
is
where
it
we
at?
are.
Forest Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where we are. So yeah, it's something is happening there, in the realm of where things happen. Yeah, it's a new avenue for him to have a retreat on his house,
I was watching his website, and then one guy I was there, I just logged in and I listened. And then I joined the Skype and asked some stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I said, Jackie's going to come and stay here anyway. So, you know what, I'm going to go right now.
Okay.
I just got up and drove right there.
Yes.
So I was there in like 45 minutes.
Very good.
So they finished the satsang and they said, you're here? I said, yes, I wanted to check it out. So,
Yes, great.
so I stayed for the evening and
Uh-huh.
did my stuff and came back.
Great. Great.
The neighborhood is pretty old, but actually he has rebuilt his house, which
Yes.
is why his is much more
Yes.
newer and nice.
Fresh, it's lovely. Lovely space.
No, he got some good stuff down there. It started with a little bit of primitive, but I think now he is
Oh, it's getting better all the
a
time.
lot better. Yeah, very good.
Every time some money is donated, it goes towards purchasing technology.
That's right. Yeah,
He's doing it for nothing. He's working 24/7.
24/7 actually.
Just for nothing. As happens in this line, huh?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
But that's exactly what goes to prove that there is something else that
Doesn't it? It does. It does.
you don't
Yes.
have to.
That's right. No, it's not.
Because it's
You're
very
right.
funny because my grandfather used to be associated with the governor of Madras long back, early about a century ago. So because of that power, he was pretty well known among our community people, which is a very small community. And we have a religious place in the west coast of India.
Okay.
So whenever in rainy season out there, it rains like heck. But whenever mostly
This is
Namaste.
Raji.
Hello.
Jackie.
Welcome.
This is Rukla.
I will never remember these Indian names, so I'm sorry.
Not a problem at
My
all.
brain doesn't do it.
Not a problem at all.
Namaste.
So
Yes.
it turns out,
Uh-huh.
my grandfather would never talk.
Uh-huh.
Very rarely he would talk. But whenever he talked, he would tell us stories about whatever happened when his experiences with all our Swamijis, wherever he went around. So one point in time, and there are a lot of rivers. Actually his older son is right now. So there are small rivers that flow by. And there were no bridges those days.
Okay.
So you had to cross through a ferry
Yes.
or a boat.
Yes.
Okay, so all those ferries or boats, that business is owned by Muslims.
Oh,
Okay, even a century ago they were owned by Muslims.
okay.
So my grandfather used to tell me how all these Muslims used to be faithful followers of our Swamiji. And it didn't strike me as a kid. He told me that, and as we grew up and all that, then it struck me. I said, Muslims, Hindu, what is this? So I asked him, how come? So he says that every time any of us Swamiji went to a particular town, they would have a bath in the river.
Ah,
So whenever they went to the river, that was the time, even in dead of monsoons, the storm would stop.
ah.
Okay, so whenever they were in town, the storms would subside, and literally when the Swamiji went to the river to have a bath, it would just stop.
Yes.
So over long periods of time, these Muslims got to know that there is some connection between
Yes.
these Swamijis and
And the
something
weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But earlier they had correlated that to good business, because whenever the weather got better, they would have crossings, so they made money.
Okay.
Whenever the Swamijis left, the monsoon came back
Yeah.
and they had to stop ferries. The business was zero.
So they better pray the
So they used to send baskets of fruits and flowers to Swamiji to come and stay
Yes.
in their town, but so they can make money.
of course.
Yes, they can make money.
It was funny.
It's funny, yes, yes.
Nice place.
So it is his house that we do the Yoga Vasishtha almost.
Ah,
Saturday.
okay, you're the Saturday morning venue, huh?
Right.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the past 4 or 5 years, in fact.
More
Is it going
than
that long?
6 years.
6 years.
Gosh.
6 years.
So they are.
Yeah. We have not finished it yet, so and we are in no hurry either.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
You haven't gone through you haven't gone through it
No.
once.
No.
As a
Whole
group,
lot.
no.
No.
Now as a group,
Oh,
they have
yeah.
been through it multiple times, I think.
Of course.
Once we have, but as a group we are like almost
3/4 long.
3/4 of the second book. So first
Okay.
book is complete, 3/4 of the second. So
Okay, you're nearly there.
7/8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do then? Are you going to start again?
There are so many other
Or
texts that have to,
something
that
else.
need to be explored.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And satsang doesn't have to be in words. We can probably meet and not talk.
Yes.
For a year we can do that.
Yes.
Mon Satsang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's in our agenda sometime into
Super.
the future.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
See, it's always we get carried away that we have to do something. You know?
Yes.
Sometimes we have to say,
We had this conversation this morning.
oh really? Wow.
Yes, that there's something to get. The
Mhm.
mind thinks there's something to get, to be understood.
Yeah.
There will be a big bang and it will all just fit into place. But no, this
Yeah.
is just what keeps the mind busy. This is what keeps you in Maya. That belief that there's something to work out and something to be done and a path to be walked. And it's like,
That is the noise that needs to be quietened.
yeah.
Yeah. We have actually a very good group. We have been like very consistently meeting, you know. There's no, and that itself is a blessing of,
Indeed.
you know, you cannot have a satsang and not have any, it's been, you know, it's been God's very.
The joy is beyond words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, our Saturdays go so smoothly, you know.
Yes. Because of the aligning with truth. Yes.
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 Tell us something about yourself. Means he did mention a little bit, but
Stories of when there was an I, or what?
Wherever you want to begin.
wherever you want to begin.
It's all just stories, huh?
I don't. This stories keep us entertained, you know.
Yes, that's the problem. That's the problem. Mind likes entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have to ask questions because nothing arises much unless there's a question.
What attracted you to this path? There was the spark kindled. Let's put it that way.
It was always there.
Mhm.
It was always there. I remember being, 8 or 9 years old. I was quite young. I remember standing in my underwear in the bathroom, in front of a full mirror, you know. So what are you doing in this body? What? Why is there the perspective that you're in this body?
Mhm.
What's going? What happened?
Mhm.
You know, and this sense that okay, what must be done is I must wait until this body grows up. So okay, and a decision was made to wait until the body grew up. And there was always some pull, and I wanted to find out about God, so I went and studied theology. But the theology that I studied was about Catholicism,
Mhm.
and it was not about God. It was about an institution. And so I became an atheist. And 10 years later, I got a big shake, and where the non-physical world became physical, and I, you know, so then the whole belief system is like, whoa, there was a set of beliefs that nothing existed beyond the physical, and now, my goodness, there are realms and realms and realms. So it started to expand mind. Meditation became important, stillness became important. I didn't know what the I used to always feel, I used to say to my husband at the time, there is a bulldozer inside me pushing me forward. And he said, but to what? And I said, I haven't a clue. But it's going to keep going, and I think it will arrive someplace, but I don't know what it will be. And I suppose about 7 or 8 years ago, there was a clarification or a realization that existence itself, anything conceptual, is but a concept and has no substance in reality. And that existence itself is also a concept that has no substance in reality. And so that realization came, and I had nobody, I knew no books, nobody whatsoever to give me the intellectual understanding of what had happened. Nothing. And it took several years later until I was in India, actually, to say, oh, they can point towards that which I am. There is language to use to point. Ah, so okay, so I was hungry for the language, and I read everything I could find, you know. So there was I suppose a 3-year period of mostly living in India and mostly in silence. And at that time, the structure, the physiological structure which enables subjective thinking, it started to break. It just started to break, you know. But I had left everything. I knew I had to leave everything. And the belief was, if I stay, I don't even have an option, but if I do stay, I get sick and die. Actually, everything will end. The only way is to move forward here, because that type of surrender I wasn't interested in. It was the other type of surrender that was making sense. Seva was making sense. My life was about that. The devotional path, the bhakti path, was pulling strongly. I followed a master for a while, whom I never met in the physical form. And it never seemed important to meet him in the physical form. And because the clairvoyancy was active, when we communed regularly. And so, for sure, he showed me the path. You know, it's if somebody's on top of a mountain and can show you, take this path, it's a lot faster than stumbling around in the dark. So after a lot of resistance, I did follow him, for sure. There's no question, but he brought me to Ramana Maharshi. There's no question, but he handed me over at some level. And in Tiruvannamalai, I went there actually because I was doing a yoga course at the other side of Arunachala, the other side of the mountain. And on my first night staying in that yoga center, Ramana appeared and started to teach. And I was like, oh, that's a thought. Gosh, that's a thought too. Gosh, there's loads of thoughts I'm still caught in. There's loads of thoughts I believe to be true. You know, you're pulling the whole lot, aren't you? You're pulling it all, which matched up with the knowing that existence itself was a myth. And I thought, but this bit had to catch up. And so on the third day, it was clear that this yoga course was not what I'm doing here at all. So I left it. And around to the other side of the mountain, and there was Satsang there, and there was Ramana's bookshop, and I immersed myself in the language of non-duality. And it was clear that this is where to stay. This is home. And that was the first time I actually ever in my life felt what at home felt like. I never knew that I didn't feel it until I felt it, you know. But there's something that is home about Tiruvannamalai. I don't know, I guess then over that period of time there, some type of integration happened, some kind of alignment happened. And for a few years now, no thought has been believed to be the truth. They're always seen as thought. They never have anything more valid than the appearance. Yeah. It's clearly an appearance, always clearly an appearance, and attention rests in that which is.
That's great.
Yeah.
So when did you come back from there,
Physically,
physically?
well, my parents are old now,
Mhm.
so that I think is part of why I'm pulled back to the West, you know, and it's the there doesn't seem to be any desires at play,
Mhm.
and so when somebody asks me to do something, it's usually a yes, you know.
Mhm.
And for some time, there was no response, you know, there was no pull. And now I know that when there's nothing is said, it's actually no.
Mhm.
Do you know? Do you know? So a yes usually comes.
Mhm.
And so someone said, well, will you just come and sit? And there's somebody has a yoga centre in Dublin.
Mhm.
Will you just come and do something? I just want you to be here in the Shala, you know. And I said, but sure, I can't do anything. There's nothing to talk about. It's all just concepts and rubbish. And I said, well, just come and talk about that. And I said, okay, well, that's called Satsang then. Okay, so
So,
So Satsang
where
began.
did you grow up originally?
in the south of Ireland.
Ireland. Okay. Okay.
Ireland, yeah. South of Ireland, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So my parents are still there. They're 80 and 85, so they're older now.
Mhm.
So maybe it's quite likely that I will spend more time between Ireland and India. You know,
Mm.
seems to be what's going to happen. You know?
So when did you come to US? Just like that?
A week ago? Was it more than a week ago? A week and a half ago? Maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Well, you were in Hawaii too.
I was in 4 days in Hawaii.
Right.
I'm not
2
doing the
weeks.
time
Yeah.
thing very well these days.
First
2
trip
weeks.
of work, yeah.
First trip to US?
Yeah, for 20 years, yes.
Oh my,
yes. So 20 years ago.
that's great. We are lucky.
What's luck, huh?
That's luck, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Richard met you in Tiruvannamalai first time, right?
He did.
This person, Richard Miller, he is
Mhm.
in Forest Park, Chicago.
Mhm.
I don't know. I came up with the joke. He's hunting for a real life master. So he went to Tiruvannamalai and he's interviewed all over the world. You know, that's how.
Is he the same guy, the one with the, you sent me the
Yeah,
link?
the link.
Oh.
Nevernothere.com.
Yeah. Oh, that's him.
That's
That's
him.
him.
Ah.
He's got some
So
really
I
good-
only saw
Yes.
one interview yet, you know.
he has a lot of them,
Yeah.
and then he does it all regularly. They come over here too,
Mhm.
like her. I mean, Muji was here at some point last year or something. Gaia was here last month, something like. So he has this thing. He does this. That's what we're talking. He does this 24/7. This is his job, and he keeps saying, "I don't know why I'm doing this," but he keeps doing it. This is all he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the person who went to Tiruvannamalai and found her and did the interview. And I remember in that interview he said, "You have to come to Chicago."
He did.
Remember?
That's where the seed was sown.
And when I saw that, I said, "I wish I can see her." And then your website it never said that there's a US tour coming. I don't know. So I started sending email and then
That's how it connected. See that power of sankalpa?
Yeah.
It's so amazingly powerful.
fantastic.
Yeah, that I have seen that, you know, that you have a sankalpa
Yeah.
and there is nothing stopping you. If you leave that out to the universe,
Yes.
it happens.
Yes.
You don't have to
Yes.
do anything. You know.
No.
It just happens.
Yes. You don't have to do anything anyway.
Mm.
About anything.
Muji starts that.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
मुझे ना एक sorry I get into Hindi. There was one sentence that really kind of hit me right here. Was one Swamiji was saying, I don't know when was that, but he said that once you know something, then you don't think about it. The thinking is only a prelude to knowing.
Yes.
Once you know, you don't think. That
Yes.
means realized masters don't think because they know.
Yes.
Because even if we talk about physical thing, once you are learning to ride a bike,
Yes.
you have to think, okay, now first pedal, then second pedal, hold the things, you are constantly thinking,
Yes.
what next, what next.
Yes.
Once you know,
Yes.
it just happens
Automatic.
on its own.
Yes.
No thinking required. So thinking is actually once you start thinking, that means you don't know. You know?
Yes.
it's like an indicator. That,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
oh, I'm thinking about it. I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever it is, it doesn't
Yes.
matter. At a physical level or at a spiritual level,
Yes.
the thinking is. Anyway, it's your turn to talk.
Not at all.
It is the same thing here too, right?
Yeah.
Any talking means thoughts. Thought means you don't know.
But yet when attention rests in what you are, talking happens. It's just part of breathing, or when you eat your food and you swallow it, you don't think about it anymore. A process happens and you don't have to think about it. And it's like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about what is being said or whatever, it's just doing its own thing. That which thought it was managing the show doesn't exist. And so the show continues. The show continues.
So it's actually when you think you're managing the thoughts, that's the problem.
Yes.
Actually, then you are actually manipulating yourself.
Right.
Yes. But yet it happens. Yet managing the mind is
Mhm.
part of the play. It's part
Yeah.
of the experiencing that we call the spiritual process, huh? Spiritual practice. Yeah. But it's just an experience that happens out there. If it's necessary for all, not at all. But the progressive path says it's necessary, for sure. That's how it happens, if that's how it's going to manifest through you.
Yeah.
But when experiencing is done, experiencing is done. The I will just go, you know.
See, even like Maharishi, he didn't like to talk, but he had other people like, Vashishta Muni and all these people, they just did it for him. So he didn't have to talk. Somebody else talked. His thoughts, somebody else was verbalizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, talking is cumbersome. Physically it's cumbersome, you know. Yeah. Because that's what's left in this form, do you know?
Yeah.
It requires a lot of breathing, it requires there's a physiological thing, that's all that's noticed, is that talking is this physiological effort.
I don't.
Easier not to have it going on, no? One becomes profoundly lazy, it seems.
Shekhar is still there.
Eh?
Shekharji must be Shekharji. Yes.
Jai Jai Sitaram.
So this is Shekhar. My name. Oh, that's okay. This is Jack O'Keefe. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, we have our Satsang group here.
This is your team, yeah.
Yeah, this is the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the process is obviously needed by the mind. The mind says, I want a process. I want this, I want this, I want to do in the morning, afternoon, evening, I want satsangs, I want this.
Our plan.
I want a plan.
Mhm.
So then,
Let me be doing something,
right.
Because we have been trained like that. That
Yes.
if you don't plan, you don't execute, that means there is something missing.
Yes. There was a goal to achieve, and once the desires are lessening, well then self-realization becomes the goal. But you've just placed another subject matter on top of the desire loop, which is still running.
Right.
We are still thinking.
You're still thinking, you're still going, you're still wanting, you're still doing the loop of desires. And it's not a hierarchy that having a desire for a bigger car is any worse or less or greater than the desire for self-realization. Really,
Same thing.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Really it is. It's still just that desire. The desire is in the way.
But the
There's
thing is,
something
it is a better desire than the desire for a car.
So the conditioning thinks that is so. At a certain point, they are all seen to be useless.
Correct.
At
No,
a
I
certain-
understand.
Yes, yes, yes.
Initially, it's
Initially,
like you
yes.
have to, kind of
Refine the desires.
It's a process of
That's right.
refinement.
Yes, that's right.
That
That's
something is better than.
Yes, but the refinement isn't necessary. It is.
It's like
It is like that for some, but it's not
you have the
necessary.
ladder to climb to a point, then the ladder is useless. So that's
Actually, in Ramcharitmanas, this concept of desire, Hanumanji had desire of this same thing. It's not in our capacity to get rid of desire. It is the Lord's capacity to get the desire out of us. So desire transference is done by Lord Himself. Like Hanumanji, when he went to Lanka, Sitaji said that, may the Lord's desire be to love you rather than your desire to love the Lord.
Yes, these.
So it is total desire transference. So he took the desire away, and now it is my desire to love you.
Yes.
Is what happened.
Yes.
So till then you have to have desire for that Lord, and when the grace happens, the desire from the Lord, the desire is not in your domain now, the desire is the Lord's domain, and He loves you now. So He takes the desire away from you. That's the grace actually.
Okay, but those beliefs only operate as long as you believe you are separate.
Obviously we are separate.
No,
We-
obviously you think
we-
you are separate.
Intellectually we may think, but we feel hungry. So we are
Intellectually you
separate.
feel you have
You may
beliefs and
as
thought,
much as intellectually you can discuss, but we feel hungry.
but
and,
the
we-
feeling is a thought. It's a belief that you are hungry.
Yes, I believe that I am hungry,
Yes,
and that's truth.
yes.
I'm honest about it.
But
And
as long as you wait for God to help you, all you're doing is running a belief that there is you and God. You're running the belief in separation.
yes,
At some point, the explanation that you have given will become obsolete.
oh, that is his role. That is his
No,
domain
there is
to
no
make
his
it
that
obsolete.
is separate from you. At some point, that will break down. There is no God that is separate from you. It is but a concept. Go beyond religion. Go beyond the scripture. The scripture is a pointer. And that framework, the conceptual God is separate from what you are, let that fade also. Because
that
the ego
fading,
must lose
the-
everything.
The fading is not in my domain.
Ah,
That is what I am talking.
yes, but I'm saying that is not true. That is a belief, and there will always be you separate from God and you working for the grace of God as long as you hold that belief to be true. The
Yeah.
belief is what's holding you. God will not remove the belief. You are God. You are Brahman. There is only Brahman.
You are right about that, but that's an intellectual thought also. That I am Brahman is an intellectual thought.
Find out if it's the truth prior to the concept. Investigate it and see if there is anything that is not Brahman.
Well, that's what I said. It's still an intellectual thought. It's a higher intellectual thought, but it's still an intellectual thought. To be thoughtless is in Lord's hand to make me thoughtless. That grace has to that grace will do the thoughtlessness. That the grace will remove this intellectual thought out of me.
Okay, the thoughts aren't the problem. Taking them to be the truth is the problem. Believing them, identifying with them is
Right.
the problem. The thoughts aren't the problem. A thoughtless state, that also is a state. It takes mind to be in a state. Prior to states, that is what you are. But no concept will get you there. But as long as concepts are entertained to be how it is, it will not be seen to be the truth. If concepts are running in the intellect, then that's where attention is. Place attention into what is beyond and prior to concepts. Place attention there. some mauna arises, huh? Now where are the concepts? This is just an appearance. All concepts are just appearances. And they're very useful to keep Maya going. But something in you wants what is not Maya. But as long as the concepts are believed to be the truth, Maya will continue. Maya is totally dependent on the belief of concepts. But something in you knows what is prior and beyond all concepts. And no words will come from there. No concepts will come from there. It has nothing to say. And it's not to negate the scriptures and the stories and the teachings. None of these are negated. They're just pointers. But there comes a time when they must be seen as pointers. And that which sees and uses the pointers doesn't exist. Only exists in Maya.
So what is your idea on the bhakta's concept? You cannot deny, because there is that he may not be totally thoughtless and Advaitic in his pursuit, because that's a very intellectual, what do you call it? I would say even intellectual. It's like dropping of the intellect also. But there is enough evidence in the scriptures to point that as a bhakta also, he experiences that same oneness without actually becoming Advaitic. Because I'm not denying, I'm a very Advaitic fanatic,
Sure.
But I also believe in that concept that though God and I are one and the same, but it is okay to accept God as separate just for that not conceptually, but to drop that burden of me becoming God. That that I am that God is my problem then. But if I let that problem be transferred over to that concept, I'm not saying there is a God or no God, that discussion I don't want to even bring it here.
Sure.
But that transference happens, then I am mentally and intellectually at peace to experience that truth. Doesn't have to be, because at that point, for having that concept of Advaita, I-ness has to go. I-ness and himness and thatness and everything else has to disappear, because in Advaita there is only silence. No words can even talk about it.
That's right.
We can talk about it,
Sure.
then we are creating another concept of Advaita.
That's right.
What, just in reference to what Shekharji was saying is, the transference is also a concept. I agree with you. But sometimes that concept, as long as we are discussing, that concept has to exist.
Yes.
Not because that it is denying the concept of Advaita.
Yes.
Jeev and Ishwar are
Yes.
not separate.
Yes.
Agreed. But that burden of me becoming that Brahman
Yes.
is gone. That is not my problem. Let that happen on its own. That
Yes.
is exactly what the rationale behind this particular thought process is.
Okay.
Correct me if I am wrong.
Right.
Yes.
Not. I agree that these are all concepts. Ultimately, all
Yes.
concepts have to drop because concepts
Yes.
exist only in Maya.
Yes.
There is no concepts in Brahman.
Yes.
Where Brahman, there is nothing but
Yes.
the pure bliss.
Yes.
As long as we are discussing, that concept exists. The
Yes.
moment we stop discussing, then who is you and who is me and who is Shekharji?
Yes.
It's the same playing in different forms.
Yes.
That itself is playing as Prashant and
Yes.
Niranjan and Rupala and Rajiv. Who's who?
But thoughts that are believed carry suffering.
Right. What I'm saying is that actually relieves you of that effort to get there. See, normally we are, whatever path we take, if we are in a spiritual path, sometimes we have that desire, or that itself is a desire. Spiritual path is
Yes.
also a desire.
Yes.
Advaita is one concept that we grabbed on, which
Sure.
our rishis have said,
Sure.
there is no difference. So we say, okay, there is no difference.
Mhm.
Now I am that Brahman, that thought is going to, we are going to churn that thought within us. We are going to think about it. We are going to meditate on that thought, whatever. That pressure is on us.
Yes.
What Hanumanji's story
Yes.
tells us is
Yes.
that he doesn't want to take that pressure. Let that pressure be on that Brahman itself.
Yes. Okay.
That is the only thing.
Yes.
But there is a key word I think you want to mention is that Hanumanji was totally surrendered.
Surrender, yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Yes.
guess the question might be rephrased as is surrender, does surrender help to reach the same path as Advaita? Is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking? If the individuality surrenders, is that also lead you to the same path?
And it brings you to a certain point. But the one who is doing the surrendering,
Has to go.
who surrenders that?
There you go.
You can't surrender that which is surrendering.
That is what Hanumanji is saying. I can't even surrender.
That's right.
Hanumanji says that I do not have the potential to surrender also.
Yes.
Because this ego will always be there that I surrender.
Yes.
That's why
That's right.
Sita ji blessed him that from today onwards, let this challenge be gone from your life.
Yes.
Let this challenge of you surrendering or you somebody accepting the surrender, you let be his Lord's
Uh-huh.
desire now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So he was totally free, completely free. Actually, he experienced Advaita at that moment itself.
Yes.
That's why he said, "Avakrita kritya bhayo mein mata." Means he said, "Now I feel I am." That is exactly what krita word in
Yes.
that Ramcharitmanas
Yes.
says that this is it.
Yes.
This is it.
Yes.
He was silent after that.
Yes.
He couldn't speak a word.
Yes.
That's what Hanumanji is feeling of. He didn't even surrender. He didn't even say that I surrendered. He took it away. Now what do you
Yes.
want now? I mean, it's just like monkey holding the baby monkey holding a mother,
Yes.
and a kitten being held by the mother.
Yes.
There's a different,
Yes.
totally different thing here.
Yes.
In Advaitic tradition, or who am I
Yes.
thinking, you are holding on to this mother.
Uh-huh.
Whereas in this tradition, Hanumanji's tradition, it is the Lord who is holding, with the kitten
Yes.
being held by
Yes.
the cat.
Yes. Yes.
So that kitten is, do you see kitten is surrendered? Give me a break. Kitten cannot surrender, doesn't even know what surrender means.
Okay.
It is mother who is taking care of it. It
Yes.
appears to from outside that this fellow surrendered. No,
Yes.
he is surrendered. This is my baby.
Yes.
I am supposed to take care of this baby.
Yes.
This is the situation here.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Actually, Hanumanji, what you said was, he suddenly transcended. He was he just totally silent
Yes.
at that moment.
Yes.
Hanumanji felt that.
Yes.
At that point when Sitaji said that,
Yes.
that's it. Abhakritya Kritya Mahima. He was silent, completely spellbound.
Yes.
He had experienced Advaita. He experienced that I am that, right that second.
Yes. Regardless of whether the context of whatever deity was working with him, regardless of whether that was there or not, it would have happened at that moment.
Yes.
What the mind says, no cause
Right.
and effect.
Perfect.
Cause and effect is in place.
100% right.
So it must
Yeah,
be
yep.
because I surrendered, because of the bakta, because of Hanuman, because of... No. The mind will put up reasons.
Yes. Yes.
It happens in
That's
that
why.
moment.
That's why he didn't have that
Yes.
challenge. It
Yes.
was taken away from him, completely gone.
Yes.
He didn't give it. It was taken away. That's the difference between that.
Yes. The final surrenderer
Yeah.
is taken away, or
Surrender
it is
is
seen.
completely.
It is taken away if you think that there was something there in the first place. But what actually happens is that you see that it never actually was real.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yes.
You see that it was never real.
Never real. Right. Very true.
But as long as it's believed that something is needed for that to be seen, even if it's God, then you will wait a very long time. Because the concept of God itself is the block. At a certain point, that concept is the block. Do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit of a...
No. This is. I mean, we have to evolve a little bit more into that to get to that realization. I believe. I accept that.
But can't it just pop?
It'll pop and it pops.
Yes. It can just pop. But
Yeah.
if there's a belief that there's a path to be walked, then you will walk a path.
There was an article I was reading somewhere. They said, "Who knows God?" I know God. Obviously, I know God. Right? Who knows about God? I know. And he would say, "I know." Right? Then he said, "Who thinks there is a God?" I do. Same thing I do. Who knows how to pray to God? I do. And you say, I do. Right? We all say I do. He's already proving, I mean, there are 5 other questions like that, but bottom line is, he's already proving the point.
I do.
Huh?
I do.
The I.
The I is the problem.
So
He has
it's
already
intellectual
planned
mind.
this whole process.
It is,
So the question
I think,
is to-
when we talked about
Who's this guy?
when I narrated my problem to you, I think the crux of the problem is not the mind per se, not the concept or anything, it's the ownership of it.
That's right.
As long as you say this is a concept and I own it,
Yes. That's the
no
sticky
matter what
bit.
it is, it can be any scripture, it can be anything.
That's right.
Does not matter what it
That's
is.
right. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter
you'll-
what it
you'll-
is.
You'll stick with that,
That's right.
okay? And for ages you'll stick with it. Multiple
Yes.
lives you'll stick with it.
That's right.
But that concept can stay. But
Yes.
As long as you say that's not my job, it's nothing to do with
Yes.
me, then it'll go.
Yes.
But that's exactly when they say observe your mind and use the mind to kill your mind, annihilate your mind. That's
Yes.
what it is.
Yes. That's right.
You slowly remove the dimensions of your ego, and in the
Through
process
ownership.
also
Through dissolving
you
ownership.
actually you get rid of this ownership.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that the concept will go.
No.
No.
It's not necessary for the concept to
Yeah,
go.
it is not necessary at all. The concept will stay there. Whatever it is, your
It's
life
fine.
will keep continuing.
Yes.
But the ownership to all that stuff
Yes.
will go.
Yes.
I mean, it's not it'll go, but once it's gone, then you're no longer associated with it.
Yes. Yes.
That's the key.
Hmm?
That
It's ownership.
association of
Yeah.
the ownership.
It's ownership.
Yeah.
Yes. Because the ownership
Yeah.
idea creates the idea that you exist.
I think long back, you remember when we used to go to Chinmay Mission,
Mhm.
if I recall right,
Yeah.
when we were in the same class and all.
Yeah, we were
There was, this is 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But you remember that time there was this stuff about the example that time Swamiji used to give was about girls playing with dolls.
Mhm.
Okay, and as they grow up, it's not that they've forgotten the dolls and all that, it's just migrated to something else.
Yes.
Okay, but
Yes.
that ownership to the doll is gone. You know, the girls
Yes.
still have their own kids and family
Yes.
and all that stuff, all the play stuff will become reality. Okay, but that ownership to that stuff is gone.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So Swamiji used to say, you know, you have to give up this ownership to this, even your real life. And if you look at it in your own life too, there was probably a car that you really loved and you felt that ownership. And once that ownership went away, you got
Yeah, I
rid of
mean-
it and you replaced it with something else. And
I mean, my son likes to
Yeah.
play GameCube or Wii, but we like to play the iPhone.
right.
Different toy, but you know,
Yeah.
Yes,
something
yes.
different. That's all it is.
Yes.
But the ownership has to go of all these
That's
things.
right.
And
Exactly.
Once you
Has to
go, once that ownership,
And the expectation, even the expectation that grace will bring you home, that will be destroyed.
right.
That will be destroyed too. It all
Because
goes.
even that doesn't exist.
Even
actually.
that doesn't exist. So as long as you believe it's a progressive path and you have a way to go, then it will continue. There is a direct path also. Find out what is real. And be prepared to lose everything. Because you will lose everything
Yes.
of what you thought you were.
I was just telling before you guys came, Jack has written a book, Born to be Free. I wish I could have I had it in mind to get it, but I forgot. But I'll get it. It's around 120 pages. I have it here. Moti ani onse do. And it's a very, I mean, we have read Adwaita, but you know, even Ramana Maharshi's books, but I thought the book was great because it had kind of instructions on how to go there. Meaning, you know, we always hear who am I, but how the heck do I use it? I don't think we really knew, at least I didn't know. This book gave a pointer, meaning what is that substratum 0, from where step 1 arises, and how to detect that step 1 has happened, and how to detect that step 1 has happened, and when to put that question, or how to put that question. Because when the step 1 happens, the first question should trigger is, to whom does the step 1 happen? The answer will be to me. Like something bothered me. To whom did the thought come? It is to me. Who is me? I am me. Then you can put the who am I. Because many times we have, oh, I'm having fun. So, but then you don't think it's the right time to ask the question. So this book I thought was a nice, it's very, I thought it was very nicely put. And it takes you step by step. And if you wish, I'll get you a few copies. I thought it was a good, you can take a look. I think it was very nice.
Yeah,
because
people say it's very clear.
very
and
clear,
direct
because
and
because the other word I liked was, it doesn't say this is how you should do. Rather, the word you have used is signpost, meaning, let's say you are experiencing this or you're feeling that, then this is a signpost that this is the path, or
yes,
it's a track. So rather than this is where you must be,
yes,
We are stuck with the finger.
correct.
yes,
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So it says, okay, this is a path showing one way or whatever, so you're in the right track. So I think that's another one.
yes.
I think the most powerful, I have said it too, I'll tell you. Everything, the creation that you, me, everybody experiences is with the mind. So the mind and the world go together. Without the mind, there is no world. We all know that because we go to deep sleep. I think now we are working on how to fix the world or how to understand the world, right? The most powerful that came out there was, there is no mind. That's a different sadhana, but I know all of you are at that level. That's why I'm giving the crash of that book. Is the rug is pulled. That world that you're thinking exists because of the mind. That mind, because of this exists, doesn't exist.
That's exactly same thing in Yoga Vashisht.
Yes.
He says,
Exactly. That's why when I was listening to Yoga Vashisht, this thing, and she mentioned on one of the webcasts, and you remember you mentioned to me one of yoga. So I said, I wish you guys could meet her,
Yeah.
And here we go.
No, it says that the earth exists in water, water exists in fire exists in air exists in space. Where does space exist? The space exists in mind. So
Yes.
And mind doesn't exist.
Yes.
And mind doesn't exist. So
There you go.
actually the whole existence don't
Exist at all.
exist at all. So the existence principle is non-existent.
Yes. Yes.
It is mind-boggling. Actually, yoga. What can I say?
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, because
But
it
in the
gives
stillness
you-
between
yeah.
thoughts, it's clear.
That's the key.
That's the key. Stillness is, as long as we have thoughts, we have, concepts, and when we have concepts, we have Adwaita. We have Adwaita, we have problems.
But as long as the mind is there, that I thought is there. So when you say that nothing exists, that space, the I isn't there in that space.
That's right.
So when somebody says there is a space, the I is looking for that space.
Yes.
If somebody says there is gap between the words, so the I suddenly comes up and looks for the gap between two words.
Yes.
Is there any hope for dense brains like me?
He is a very smart
They
person.
don't exist.
They don't. There is nothing.
Seriously dense brains. No?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I have found that people with a strong intellect find this most difficult because the intellect has been trusted as the coping mechanism, the primary assistant in all
Because
of
they
life.
can solve all problems.
They can solve all problems.
That is the barrier actually. Right?
Yeah, it's a barrier. It becomes a barrier. I found that people with high IQ, they find this most difficult because the very thing that was their greatest tool is the greatest obstacle. So even that point may help. That it's like, intellect, to recognize, if you can observe that, whoa, intellect is trying to grasp it. Okay, you're out of your domain here. Go back into the toolbox, Not needed for this work. It's not needed for this work.
Excuse me.
You see? So if you can see where the intellect is coming in and trying to attach to it, and you're applying that tool that is needed in your work or your life or whatever, it's obsolete in this work. On Saturday morning, leave it in the car when you arrive to the house. Leave it in the car. Your intellect is not. So if there is a way of knowing, the tool can be picked up and dropped. If you get that objectivity on how to manage your intellect, then you are not a slave of it. You can use it, but you are not a slave of it. That will help, for sure.
Okay, let's eat some lunch.
Good idea.
Great.
Good thought.
Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya.
Wow.
That's a while since I've lived.
Yeah.
I thought you were all going to sing.